and senile.
Watch your mouth, young man.
I can't watch it. It's under my nose.
Imagine being on the most watched comedy show on television, earning more money per episode than most people make in an entire year, and then watching it all either slip away or transform into something completely different from what anyone could have predicted. That is exactly what happened to the cast of 2.5 Men. For 12 seasons, this show was a genuine phenomenon. Millions of people tuned in every week to watch Charlie, Alan, Jake, and the rest of the Harper household stumble through life in that Malibu beach house. It felt like it would last forever, and then it did not. But the story of what happened to each of these people after the cameras stopped rolling is honestly more dramatic, more surprising, and more emotional than anything the writers ever put in the actual scripts. So let's go through every major cast member and find out where they are right now in 2026, because some of these stories are going to genuinely shock you. Let's start with a man whose name became synonymous with the show and whose exit from it became one of the most talked about moments in television history. Charlie Sheen was born Carlos Erwin Estevez on September 3rd, 1965 in New York City, and before 2.5 Men ever existed, he was already a genuine Hollywood star. He had appeared in Platoon in 1986, stood alongside his own father Martin Sheen in Wall Street the very next year, and shown real comedic talent in the Hot Shots films. By the time CBS came calling with the role of Charlie Harper in 2003, it was one of those rare situations where a character and an actor seemed almost too perfectly matched. Charlie Harper lived fast, loved parties, and never seemed to worry too much about the consequences of his choices. Sound familiar? The show took off immediately and Sheen rose right along with it. By 2010, he was earning approximately $1.8 million for every single episode. When you add in the money coming in from syndication deals, his annual income was climbing toward $48 million. At the peak of everything, his total net worth sat around $150 million. It was one of the most remarkable financial runs any television actor had ever experienced. And then 2011 happened. After entering drug rehabilitation, Sheen started making explosive comments about the show's creator in public. He went on a media tour that the entire country watched with a mix of confusion, concern, and fascination. He talked about Tiger Blood. He talked about winning. He described himself in ways that made people genuinely wonder what they were witnessing. Within weeks, he had gained 1 million Twitter followers faster than anyone had ever done it before. Warner Brothers fired him in March of that year. He filed a $100 million lawsuit, launched a live stage tour, and somehow still managed to make more than $40 million in 2011 alone, his single biggest financial year ever, even after losing the show. He starred in Anger Management from 2012 to 2014 and kept owning, though never at the same scale as before. But the money was flowing out just as fast as it came in. Multiple divorces brought heavy financial settlements. He gave away enormous sums of charity, including around $30 million to causes like autism support and cancer research, often without telling anyone. He sold his future earnings from 2.5 Men for $27 million just to get quick cash. He owed millions in unpaid taxes. By 2016, he had publicly revealed that he was living with HIV. By 2021, a judge had reduced his child support payments to $0 per month, which tells you everything you need to know about how dramatically his financial situation had changed. In 2025, a Netflix documentary called Arca Charlie Sheen brought a different and more reflective version of the man to screen. He spoke openly about his past, about addiction and the years when he lost his way, and about the surprisingly ordinary moment that finally pushed him toward sobriety in 2017. He forgot one of his daughter's appointments, and that simple human failure hit him harder than any public scandal ever had. He talked about his twin sons Max and Bob, about his daughters Sammy and Lola and Cassandra, and about how the relationships with his former wives had softened into something almost peaceful. He says they all text regularly now and that everyone is simply tired of carrying bad energy around. As of 2026, Charlie Sheen's net worth stands at approximately $3 million. The man who once earned nearly $2 million for a single half-hour episode saw a fortune of $150 million slip through his hands. But he is sober, he is present for his children, and by his own account, he is genuinely at peace. That is a story worth paying attention to. Now let's talk about the man who stayed through every single episode, from the very first to the very last, and who handled everything around him with a kind of steady professionalism that only looks more impressive in hindsight. Jon Cryer was born on April 16, 1965 in New York City into a family that already had deep roots in the entertainment world. His mother was a playwright and his father was an actor. He first became famous in 1986 playing Ducky in Pretty in Pink, a role so memorable that it followed him for years and nearly locked him permanently into one particular kind of character. When his career had slowed down and he was looking for something new, he landed the role of Alan Harper, Charlie's nervous, perpetually unlucky younger brother, and the show gave him the kind of second chance that most actors only dream about. He appeared in all 262 episodes across 12 seasons. Not once did he leave the cast. His salary began around $550,000 per episode and eventually grew to approximately $620,000. By the time everything was finished, including the ongoing money from syndication, he had earned close to $100 million from the show. The recognition came, too. He won an Emmy Award in 2009 as supporting actor, and then won again in 2012 as lead actor after Sheen's departure elevated his role. 6 total Emmy nominations over the years helped cement his place in the history of the medium. And when the series ended, he simply kept working. He wrote a memoir in 2015 called So That Happened, full of honest and funny stories from his career. He played Lex Luthor on Supergirl and continued that role across several connected superhero series. He starred in and helped produce Extended Family from 2023 to 2024. He and his wife Lisa Joyner run a production company together called Discount Sushi that develops television series, films, and podcasts. In 2025, he signed with a new management company and kept building. When he appeared in the Charlie Sheen Netflix documentary, he spoke about their time together without bitterness or drama. Just calm, measured honesty from someone who clearly processes experiences and moved forward. Today, his net worth sits somewhere between $65 and $70 million. In 2011, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. While the world around the show was sometimes chaos, Jon Cryer just kept showing up and kept doing the work. And that consistency turned out to be worth everything. Angus T. Jones was only 9 years old when he landed the role of Jake Harper, the half of the 2.5 Men that the title was actually referring to. Audiences watched him grow up on screen across 12 seasons, and by 2010 he was earning around $300,000 per episode, making him the highest-paid child actor working in television at the time. He had earned tens of millions of dollars before he was even old enough to vote. Then in November 2012, something shifted publicly and dramatically. Jones appeared in a religious video online where he called the show he was still being paid to appear in filth and urged viewers to stop watching it. He said he felt like a paid hypocrite whose new faith conflicted deeply with the content he was helping to create. The response was immediate and intense. Even religious leaders distanced themselves from the video. His own mother worried publicly about the influences around him. The next day, he released a statement expressing gratitude for his time on the show, but the dynamic had already changed. In 2013, his role was significantly reduced. In 2014, he officially left, returning only for a brief cameo in the final episode. He enrolled at the University of Colorado Boulder and genuinely enjoyed something he had not experienced in years, which was being anonymous, nobody knowing who he was, just being a regular young person on a college campus. He has spoken since about struggling with marijuana during his teenage years and about a period when his thinking became very extreme. With time, that intensity faded and he found a more balanced way of living. He joined the management team of a multimedia company in 2016 and has mostly stayed out of the public eye since then. He is 32 years old in 2026 with a net worth of approximately $20 million, most of which he earned before he even became an adult. He calls the show a once-in-a-lifetime experience and looks back on it with appreciation rather than regret. When Charlie Sheen was fired and CBS needed to figure out what came next, they moved quickly. Hugh Grant was actually approached first but turned the offer down. Then on May 13, 2011, the network announced that Ashton Kutcher would be stepping in. Kutcher was upfront about how difficult the position was. He was not trying to replace anyone. He just wanted to work hard enough to help the show survive. When Season 9 premiered that September, the story opened with Charlie Harper being killed by a moving train and a group of his former girlfriends gathering at his funeral. It was strange and dramatic and oddly fitting. In walked Walden Schmidt, a lonely internet billionaire with a broken heart who bought the Malibu beach house. That premiere episode pulled in 28.7 million viewers, making it the most watched comedy episode of the entire year and giving Kutcher one of the strongest debuts any new cast member had ever experienced. Over time, the audience numbers gradually softened. Without the original chemistry between Sheen and Cryer at the center of the show, it never quite found its old rhythm. CBS made the call to end things after season 12. Kutcher earned around $800,000 per episode during his time on the show, close to $20 million per season, briefly making him the highest-paid actor on television in the world. But here's what makes Ashton Kutcher's story genuinely fascinating. Acting was actually becoming the smaller part of what he was doing. Kutcher had been quietly building something extraordinary in the background while the cameras were rolling. He had co-launched a venture capital fund in 2010 with $30 million in starting capital that grew into hundreds of millions over just a few years. He placed an early investment of $500,000 in Uber that eventually turned into tens of millions. He backed Airbnb in its early days. He invested in Spotify, Skype, and many other companies that were just getting started. In 2015, he co-created Sound Ventures, focused on funding early-stage startups. By 2025, his investment portfolio included more than 70 companies. In August of that year, he helped lead a $2.7 billion deal to take Soho House private and earned a seat on the board of directors. Most of his wealth now comes from investing rather than performing, which tells you everything about how completely his professional identity has evolved. His personal life has had serious moments too. He testified in 2019 during the murder trial of a man convicted of killing a woman Kutcher had briefly dated years earlier. In 2022, he revealed he had been diagnosed with vasculitis, a rare condition that temporarily affected his vision, his hearing, and his ability to move. He recovered fully and returned to his life and his work. Ashton Kutcher turned a television salary into something that goes well beyond the entertainment world, and in 2026 he stands as one of the most surprising business success stories to ever come out of a sitcom. Of all the stories connected to Two and a Half Men, none carries more emotional weight than the story of Conchata Ferrell. She was born on March 28, 1943 in Loudondale, West Virginia, and her path to television stardom was long and winding and completely owned. She studied at West Virginia University, worked various jobs, went back to school, earned a degree in history education, and then gradually let acting pull her in. In 1973, she found real success in off-Broadway theater, winning multiple awards for her performance in The Seahorse and discovering that she genuinely belonged on stage. When she was cast on Two and a Half Men as Berta, Charlie Harper's sharp-tongued housekeeper, the role had originally been written for only 2 episodes. The character had been imagined as an ethnic minority. Ferrell reshaped the whole thing from the ground up, giving Berta a background she described as trailer park, bringing a rough honesty and dark humor to the role that felt completely natural and real. The producers recognized something special, and a 2-episode guest spot turned into a regular role starting in season 2. She ultimately appeared in 212 episodes and became one of the most genuinely beloved characters in the show's entire run. She earned Emmy nominations for supporting actress in a comedy series in 2005 and in 2007, and though she did not win, the recognition reflected how deeply audiences connected with her and what she brought to that character every single week. In late 2019, she developed a kidney infection that gradually became more serious. In May 2020, she was hospitalized and spent more than 4 weeks in intensive care. She suffered cardiac arrest during that time. Afterward, she was unable to speak or move and had to be transferred to a long-term care facility. On October 12, 2020, Conchata Ferrell passed away at Sherman Oaks Hospital in California, at the age of 77. Her career had stretched across nearly 50 years. She had appeared in films including Network, Edward Scissorhands, Mystic Pizza, Erin Brockovich, and True Romance. She had taught acting for television at UCLA. She had received 3 Emmy nominations across her career. After she passed, messages of love poured in from everyone who had known her. Chuck Lorre remembered her as a steady and genuine presence through years of work and shared laughter. Charlie Sheen called her a true professional and a genuine friend. Jon Cryer wrote about the warmth that lived behind Berta's tough exterior and said he would miss her deeply. She left behind her husband Arnie Anderson, her daughter Samantha, and 2 stepdaughters. She was laid to rest in Forest Cemetery in Circleville, Ohio. The show's housekeeper turned out to be one of its true hearts, and the world of television is genuinely poorer without her in it. Holland Taylor was born on January 14, 1943, and by 2026 she has reached the remarkable age of 83 with a career that shows absolutely no signs of slowing down. When she stepped into the role of Evelyn Harper, the complicated and razor-sharp mother of Charlie and Alan, she brought decades of stage and screen experience that gave the character genuine depth underneath all the biting humor. She earned 4 Emmy nominations for her work on the show. Long before 2.5 Men, she had already won an Emmy in 1999 for her role as a judge on The Practice. Her television work stretches back to the early 1970s. Film audiences know her from Romancing the Stone, The Truman Show, and Legally Blonde. After the show ended, she wrote and performed a one-woman Broadway play about former Texas Governor Richards that ran for 132 performances in 2013. She appeared on The Morning Show on Apple TV Plus alongside Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. She has continued taking on new projects, including the comedy series Brothers and the legal drama All's Fair, proving that her energy and her appetite for work remain completely intact. In her personal life, she confirmed in 2016 that she had been in a relationship with actress Sarah Paulson since early 2015. On December 2nd, 2025, Taylor delivered an emotional tribute speech at Paulson's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, speaking about how deeply she admires her and how proud she felt standing beside her. She earned approximately $75,000 per episode on 2.5 Men, considerably less than some of her co-stars, but Holland Taylor was never defined by one show. She was defined by 5 decades of extraordinary, uninterrupted, genuinely excellent work. Melanie Lynskey was born on May 16, 1977 in New Plymouth, New Zealand, and she was only 17 years old when she appeared in her first film role, playing Pauline Parker in Heavenly Creatures in 1994 alongside Kate Winslet. It was a performance that showed remarkable depth for someone so young and quietly set the foundation for everything that followed. On 2.5 Men, she played Rose, the unpredictable neighbor who began as Charlie's stalker and gradually became an accepted part of his chaotic world. What started as a small recurring part grew into something that lasted across all 12 seasons, with Rose popping up at the most unexpected moments in the most unexpected ways. But the genuine breakthrough came much later. In November 2021, she appeared as Shauna in the series Yellow Jackets, and the performance transformed how the entire industry saw her. Critics praised what she brought to that role with a kind of enthusiasm that felt like a long overdue reckoning with how talented she had always been. She won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actress in a Drama Series in 2022. She received back-to-back Emmy nominations for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. In 2023, she appeared in The Last of Us in a role as a ruthless villain whose quiet voice had something genuinely terrifying, and that earned her the Critics' Choice Super Award for Best Villain in a Series. As of November 2025, she had accumulated 24 award wins and 49 career nominations. Work on the final season of Yellow Jackets began in early 2026. She has spoken openly about the harsh and unfair body standards she faced early in her career and about uncomfortable experiences she had during her rise through Hollywood. She is married to actor Jason Ritter, and they have one child together. Her net worth sits at approximately $5 million, and films she has appeared in have earned roughly $733 million worldwide. Melanie Lynskey waited a long time for the world to fully recognize what she could do. Now there is no question at all. Finally, Marin Hinkle was born on March 23, 1966 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where her American parents were serving in the Peace Corps at the time. Her father was a college teacher, and her mother later became a judge. Education and discipline were always central to her world. She dreamed of becoming a ballerina as a child and trained seriously for years until an ankle injury at 16 ended that dream. She turned to acting, graduated from Brown University, and earned a master's degree from NYU's graduate acting program at the Tisch School of the Arts. Audiences knew her as Judith on 2.5 Men, Alan's tense and frequently combative ex-wife who added another layer of chaos to the Harper family dynamic. She was a main cast member for many years and reportedly earned around $500,000 per episode during the show's most popular seasons. Her appearances became less frequent in the later seasons, and after the 8th season, she was gradually moved to the background. Then a completely new opportunity arrived. In 2017, she was cast as Rose Weissman in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, playing an elegant and tightly controlled mother struggling to make sense of her daughter's unexpected choices in life. The role gave her space to show a much wider emotional range than audiences had seen from her before. She received Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series in both 2019 and 2020. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel ran for 5 seasons through 2023 and became one of the most viewed comedies on Amazon Prime Video. In 2025, she returned to live stage performance at the Geffen Playhouse in Los Angeles, going back to the theatrical roots that had shaped her craft from the very beginning. Her net worth is estimated at around $4.5 million, built carefully and patiently across a career that has never depended on a single big moment, but has always moved consistently forward. What a group of people. What completely different paths. One cast, 12 seasons, and then a dozen separate stories that went in directions nobody could have written in advance. Some of them lost fortunes. Some of them built them. Some of them found themselves in completely new chapters of their creative lives. And one of them left us altogether, leaving behind a legacy that anyone who loved that show will carry for a very long time. If this trip down memory lane meant something to you, please hit that like button right now. It helps this video reach more people who grew up watching this show and want to know the real story of where everyone ended up. Share it with someone who was a fan, because this is the kind of video that sparks great conversations. And if you are not already subscribed to this channel, please do that right now and hit the bell so you never miss a single video. We are here every week bringing you the stories behind the stories, and there is so much more coming. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching all the way to the end. It really does mean everything.